Okay. I'm gonna reload my backend viewer here because it's hanging, and I need to be able to see that the stream is working in order to feel comfortable with this at all. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, sorry, darling. Just
That's okay.
stuff is not initializing on this end. So here's this, and here's here's the OBS virtual camera.
The thing.
That should be okay. You should be able to see what they are seeing, but like in real time, instead of having to watch the stream like some kind of plebeian.
Okay.
Ooh, the pre-stream.
Calm the dine.
Hi, we're here. The music is too quiet.
Okay.
Now the music is too loud. It's incredible.
I don't
so
know
finicky.
this one.
I haven't really looked at it yet, except like, okay, so like this is there's a name of a company and a name of a person, and I like, if you've seen this movie, this has to be a giveaway, right?
Yeah.
This is the first frame, so I think the thing here is this is a movie that they don't think people have seen.
Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Gattaca.
It almost sounds like it could be a parody, right? A character named David Harkin who works at Comnidine. It's so like a thing a movie character is named and a company that exists in a movie.
Yeah.
Is it? Do they have horrible bosses? Do the people in Horrible Bosses work at Comnidine? It feels to me like it's going to be a comedy because it's too. What is that?
Oh, you got it. I saw Horrible Bosses, but I didn't remember this.
It's just like it had to be. It's too on the nose, right?
Well, I would have gone it by 4.
Yeah, by about the Colin Farrell of it all. Yeah, it's just like it's the right time period. And Amabel, I did it.
You did it. Good job.
We're just gonna do a couple of these. Welcome to the pre-stream for today. We're just gonna do a couple of frames, and then we're gonna get into our main thing, which is the horrible hostility of outer space.
I have posted the stream stuff both on Blue Sky and on your Reddit, where someone has taken the trouble of taking the sheet music in blueprints and showing us what it would sound like.
Really?
That's neat.
That is neat.
Someone also is asking you to play Humankind again.
I did see that.
I don't think they know that we're.
I did see that. That one's going to be hard to exceed to. I don't know if we can play Humankind any harder than we are currently playing it.
That axe is real interesting.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
Is this Snow White and the Huntsman?
You think you got a pull here?
I mean, I remember seeing that movie and be like, "Hey, that was all right." It's not. It.
It's something more serious than that.
Oh, look at those hats. Those are good hats.
What does it say? Is this Captain B on it? Capt B? I don't know. There's a powder horn.
Can you try The Patriot?
Think so? I saw The Patriot, but it was a very, very long time ago.
I'm really grasping.
That is in fact it.
Okay.
Amabel. Fantastic work. Let's do a couple more. Give people time to filter in. Hey everybody, how's it going? We're just playing a little bit of Framed while we give people time to file in here. Hey, howdy. Okay.
Someone has manga, it looks like, and figurines. This is a more modern movie, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. I can't quite tell what's happening on that screen.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's like two guys hanging out, and from the backs of their heads, I don't know. This could be Jonah Hill. just
Yeah.
got kind of a shape, you know.
I don't think this is it, but can you try Rain Over Me?
Rain over me. Okay. Let's see if they
REI.
Okay. Rain over me. Rain over me?
They just don't have
okay,
it.
it's not in
Okay.
here.
No, I didn't think so, but just the TV and the kind of thing just reminded me slightly of it. But I don't think Adam Sandler's character had any anime figurines
kids buddying
in that.
around. Some young men with some money. Is it from the beginning of Kick-Ass? No. Sinkhole in Guatemala. That's a fucking... The text here is very something.
Yeah.
Unexplained seismic activity causes outbreak of tidal something. What's a movie? What's a recent movie that has a big sinkhole in Guatemala? This might just be a movie I've never seen. Although Horrible Bosses is also a movie I've never seen.
Try Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Think so?
I didn't see the
Seems like
the
a no.
most recent. Okay.
Is this? Wait a minute.
Yeah. You have a poll?
Ah, this is
yeah.
James Franco's weird house from This Is the End. That's the back of a Seth Rogen and a Jay Baruchel there. Yep, and then there's Craig Robinson.
Okay.
And, yep.
All right. I didn't. See
I almost was like, that kind of looks like the back of Jay Baruchel there, but I don't know.
See,
I didn't
here's the
trust
thing.
myself.
I have face blindness, and you're able not only to recognize faces, but the back of faces is very powerful.
People have heads that are shapes. This is just a mouse. This is just a mouse on a concrete floor. What are we supposed to do with this?
Mouse hunt.
All right. Mouse hunt not in here. Dumbo 2019. The Green Mile? You think?
I've never seen it. I don't know.
I've also never seen it, but it just
Maybe
looks like
you're on fire.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well for considering that I've not seen any of the movies we're talking about, except for I saw This Is the End, but you know, not a movie I'm super familiar with, I would say. Sorry, no gas to the first. So a movie set during the gas shortage.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna tell me that this aspect ratio is meaningful?
I mean, it is, because that's...
So it's not like a modern movie set during the gas shortage, unless that modern movie is doing an intentional...
I mean, I would almost assume that it's a modern movie doing an intentional thing, because this is very close to the Academy ratio, and they weren't really using that in the 70s very much at all.
Okay.
But I don't have a poll for this. So, either skip or guess something, but I don't.
Okay.
American Hustle.
I'm guessing The Nice Guys. So this movie has men in it. There's at least 2 men in the film.
Try American Hustle.
Okay.
And if not,
when is Ford versus Ferrari set?
I don't know. It might also be...
Out of curiosity, is that Ford v Ferrari is here? I'm just typing stuff. Okay, I don't... This is semi-familiar to me.
Yeah, I don't know this one.
I know some faces here. I don't know either, though. I'm just gonna submit a blank.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's Tom Cruise. They show you Tom Cruise on number 5. that probably means it's a movie that they're expecting that you're gonna know once you see that it's Tom Cruise. This isn't like a weird indie movie or anything.
Yeah, I don't know a Tom Cruise movie set during the gas crisis at all.
Yeah, me neither. I kind of could honestly, I couldn't name a Tom Cruise movie from the last 30 years that isn't Live, Die, Repeat or Mission Impossible.
I mean, yeah, just that and like Magnolia, I guess, and whatever that Cameron Crowe one he did. But yeah, no, I'm blank. I'm blanked on this one. This one is the stumper.
All right, I'm just gonna pass through it. Is that Domhnall Gleeson? American Made.
All right,
That's a film.
I had one of the words correct.
Okay, so we're looking here at like a South American. That's the vibe, right?
Yeah.
What does that say? Medici? Maybe?
Well, it definitely looks like a train. Is this Dumbo?
I don't know. I didn't see the 2019 Dumbo.
There's a circus train on it.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations.
no, I haven't seen it either because I refuse to give Tim Burton
All right,
money.
when I typed in Dumbo earlier, it's because I was getting temporal radiation off of this.
Yeah. Okay. What were the other pictures for this one, by the way?
Andra says the other clue is that it looks like dog shit, which is kind of what I was thinking, honestly. Oh, this looks rad. Unidentified heat signature.
Oh.
This has a almost a 90s kind of vibe to it. The way that this computer model looks. This looks like some Congo shit to me.
Jurassic Park.
They do not have Congo. Want to do Jurassic Park? Well, that's Wayland Industries, Amabel.
Okay.
That's curious.
That's curious, yeah. I haven't seen Alien 3. Do you think this is Alien 3?
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Does it have a super flashback in it?
Oh, could this be an Alien v Predator movie?
It absolutely could be. It's Alien versus Predator, but hold on. Do they have No, okay. So they just it seems like they just have the one. Yep, good read. All right, I think listen. Overall, we kept it to a pretty small number of frames per framed there.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard good things about Alien 3, Andra, and I believe that's the one that Fincher directed, and I like some David Fincher things. I have seen the fourth one because that's the guy who did Amelie directed that one, and the fourth one is sure is something.
Can I tell you? I haven't even seen Aliens.
Oh, sweetheart, we should fix that. I think. Well, here's the thing. You've seen a lot of movies that are influenced by aliens.
Yeah, I've seen all the I know all the parts and everything.
So I'm not sure how much you actually would get out of it. I don't think you have the same.
Someone's gonna say the thing, and then someone's gonna say the thing. Yeah, I'm gonna recognize all those lines and stuff that we know and love. Wait a minute, I put the image for the gas cave up before I did this thing. Hey, look, it's the relaxed movement. They make the music. We listen to it.
Yeah, because
there's a link in the video description if you want to listen to it your own self.
I think you generally have less desire or patience for seeing where the things originated from and seeing them in that context. So, I don't know how fruitful that would be for you, actually.
I don't know what that means.
I like old shit.
It kind of sounds like you're calling me A little unsophisticated, perhaps, is the suggestion.
No, I'm not.
All right, okay.
I like old shit, and you like new, exciting shit that is like you are so open to experimentation in art and to things going in new directions, and you are less invested in tracing back where things came from.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah, but it's not how it's landing.
I am so sorry. We'll move on.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical issues over here. Hey, this is the video game, everyone, except for Amabel.
Okay.
Amabel's gonna get it in a second.
No, I got it.
You do? Oh, right, because I didn't feed you the direct. I fed you the OBS feed.
I'm not hearing any audio.
Yeah, let me
Okay.
give you the direct here, so that you can enjoy the audio too. Because this is a thing that you're not super familiar with, and it's sort of a thing from a genre that you're not super familiar with. I don't have a ton of familiarity with these games either, because I don't. I tend to get a little bored with the aimlessness. It's very much a sort of like a lot of these games are very much a sort of like set your own goals kind of thing, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on in this one. I come back to this one every once in a while and play it. It's been a minute, so we're gonna put it in basic survival mode because it is a survival video game. Amabel, this is Oxygen Not Included from our friends over at Clay.
Okay.
You know Clay.
Yep.
They make all the games that have the really nice art and animation, and this is no exception.
You know, they should do a fighting game, like a Clay fighter.
Okay. All right, it's gonna be that kind of stream. So we're just gonna take a little look at this. So I don't really know enough about the game to know what I'm looking at here. I'm just going to kind of launch this with the base settings. So survival games, these like collect rock, build tech tree type games. There's a whole lot of different things in this genre. It is a very broad set of experiences. This is on the colony management side, so it's a little closer to like in some ways a little closer to like a God game than say an experience like you would get playing Ark or something. You know, one of the first person ones where there's the colony is you. This is not useful as a loading bar. It has filled and unfilled and refilled so many times. I feel like we used to be better at faking progress bars because they were never really functional, but it would pretty much move in a linear fashion. All right. So we're choosing 3 duplicates to begin. All of our duplicates have some basic things that they're a little bit good at. This one has an interest in suit wearing. Gains +1 morale when learning suit wearing skills. There are some things here that I am not going to be familiar with. And they have their various traits and their reactions to stress and happiness. One thing I am looking for here, wails uncontrollably, might break stuff. Okay. I was having a quick look and making sure we didn't have any stress vomiters because I've had some bad experiences. All right, this will do. Quinn, Amari, and Nicola. Let's go. So here's the basic deal with this one. This is a 2-dimensional game, which is pretty uncommon for the games in this genre, but it's very common for, Clay, doing Clay's thing. The asteroid we call home has collided with an anomalous planet, decimating our colony. Rebuilding it is of the utmost importance. I've detected a new cluster of material-rich planetoids in nearby space. If I can guide the duplicants through the perils of space travel, we could build a colony even bigger and better than before. Presumably. Okay. So, welcome to the spot. I'm going to pause the game real quick here. You can see we kind of have an awareness of things that are in the immediate area of our duplicants. The game starts pretty simply. We have the printing pod, which is going to offer us bodies and stuff every so often. This controls the rate of new people. We have our 3 folks. We have a ration box with some food in it, and we have the gases and materials about us. So the game's called Oxygen Not Included. It's kind of a lie. There is in fact oxygen, but we're going to be responsible for managing a whole lot. So part of what makes this interesting for me beyond a lot of the survival games is the amount of science-ness. I don't want to say that it's like a real simulation of the difficulties of surviving in space, but it's trying an awful lot harder, and there's a lot more systems and stuff to that end. So if we want to take a quick look here at some overlays before we get going here, you can see this is where the air is breathable, the oxygen overlay.
Okay.
We have a little pocket of oxygen, partially thanks to some oxylite, which is a mineral that sublimates into oxygen over time. Exposed to air.
Sublimate.
It's a state change. Exposed to air, it just disintegrates into oxygen. So over time, this will run out, but it's producing oxygen. Our people are actually breathing. They are actually converting oxygen into CO2, and that will actually kill us eventually. We also have to worry about the temperature, making sure that things are okay. You know, we've got a pocket of temperate, you know, we get delivered into a livable situation, but you can see there are some extremes of temperature even this close to us. And then we have, things are going to get complicated. Germs, we have to make sure people stay cleanish. There's a lot of stuff going on. So Amabel, what's your familiarity with survival games in general, would you say? While I start to plan the colony a little bit. First thing I'm thinking is we're going to need water.
I played one game that I think is similar, where, you know, you have like a colony and like you're moving people around and you have a lot of stuff to keep track of and gather and whatnot. It was not very good, the one I played. It was a free mobile game.
Yeah.
Based on, it was a Bethesda Fallout mobile game.
Oh, the Fallout Shelter game?
Yeah.
I never played that. Is that
similar?
Yeah, that's not a great question to ask me, because you have played that and no other survival games, and I have not played that.
Yeah.
So I apologize. I have no idea.
I mean, this certainly seems a lot more complicated already.
Just throw stuff in these. So I'm just making some bins, some storage bins for them to throw objects into, so we don't have stuff crapping up the floor all the time necessarily. You can see each of them has like a basic mining laser. I do not have direct control over the duplicants at all. I can set orders, and I can, you know, fiddle with prioritizing certain kinds of orders over others, or messing with people's individual behavior prioritization, you know, tell people to do particular kinds of jobs. But that's, you know, we do not have direct control here. I'm going to speed the game up a little bit. We're going to do a lot of going real fast and also pausing here. So right now I'm just trying to dig out some space because there's a couple of basics that we're going to need.
Andra says, free mobile game, the most promising descriptor of any game. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's. I don't do a lot of phone gaming. I did play a couple of like pretty decent, short JRPGs that had some like clever dialogue, character stuff, and combat systems that were free mobile games. But I other than that, I have not found a lot there to enjoy. But they're not really aimed at me, are they? You know.
That's a great question, are they? So you can see I've constructed just some basic sleeping places. I'm letting the dupes grab all the garbage that they just dug out of the walls and throw it in the bins. And here's what I'm thinking. One of the first things we're going to need to supply or secure a supply of is drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
Not just drinking water, but water for other purposes as well. So my plan is to maybe try to unite these reservoirs of water to try to just drop them all down into the same big bin and have that be our water bin. And that's going to be a little bit of a project, but that's where I'm starting. So we're going to make ourselves a ladder.
That's some good sound work too. You know, as the kind of escalation of the ladder, like that. Good. They're really good at
classic shepherd's tone, I believe.
Yeah, they're really good at like the feedback for their games, like the presentation and the both the
Clay does user experience like nobody's business. So you can see there's a lot of different materials out here. In particular, what I'm looking for is a whole bunch of algae. I'm taking us down to a place where there's some more oxylite, which is good for us. We're going to need algae and like cultivatable soil at some point here. And then also, obviously, we care about the water a great deal. Okay. So my plan here is we're going to... I'm going to just like dig under this water and let it funnel down, but we want to be a little careful about how we do this because I don't obviously want to have anybody get washed away in the flood. And it's very easy to have duplicants die in really silly ways. Maybe not easy, but it's something I have been good at traditionally throughout my my playtime of the game. I'm going to grab all of this algae while we're at it. So yeah, this is not a genre that I have a lot of personal interest in, but clay goes a long way with me, right? Like,
yeah,
they make good products. Don't Starve is one of the other, like one of the few other things in the genre that I have some experience with. People got to get some sleep, and of course, it's adorable.
Yeah. Now
you can see the CO2 coming out of their mouths, and
Don't Starve.
CO2 is heavier than
like
oxygen.
I mean, it sounds kind of because presumably you can starve in the game.
Yeah, but you are exhorted not to.
It'd be like naming a Mario game "Don't Fall." Like, I'd feel really bad when I fell in the pit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But, like, seriously, don't starve. I'll tell you what, I have spent some time with Don't Starve. Starvation has never really been my problem.
Fake Alex Blue asks if there are mods or DLC that you're playing with.
So I am playing with, let me pause and grab that information. I'm playing with the DLC that was on sale not that long ago. So let's see. According to the store page, I have installed the Frosty Planet Pack, the Bionic Booster Pack, and Spaced Out. But I have not explored any. It was a Steam sale. It's like, well, it's almost. Oh, right. We don't have bathrooms. Amabel, I didn't construct a bathroom.
Oh, sweetheart. That's trouble.
Yeah, I'm not responsible. You know? Let's construct a bathroom area. Plumbing. So right now, we don't really have plumbing so much as we have the ability to make an outhouse. And then, like, a hand washing station. And that's going to have to do. Let's dig out an area here and... Oh, so somebody has had a, they've had a little situation there. That's, they'll call that polluted water. Hold on, I need to get rid of the polluted water. Somebody please mop up the polluted... Oh, no, oh... Okay, well... Nicola just had an accident into the water supply over here. So, we will not be using this water for our drinking water anymore. New plan. It's fine, it's fine. It's fine. That's on me. That's a little bit on me. I forgot that that's a thing that humans do. Okay, and somebody has...
It's weird that you would forget that, because I do announce every time I'm going to the bathroom.
I believe all three of them now have pissed themselves while working. That's kind of a day one of the colony kind of thing, right? Like, get toilets?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Please clean that up. And now we just have, like... So they mop it up. Right, but now it's just like it's contaminated liquid and they don't have anything to do with it. So we just have bottles of urine water sitting all around the colony. Not great. Also, the wash basin doesn't actually operate because we don't have access to water yet. So this is going splendidly.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can tell I'm good at these games. Here's my brilliant plan. Okay, we're just gonna build a big fucking hole for the water to go down. Don't actually break through yet. How do these... Amabel, you have some interest in, like... the logistics of historical stuff. How much do you know about, like, historical engineering and aqueducts and that sort of... Can you help?
You know, I know very little, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because I am not very STEM-brained at all. And so, like, anything to do with, like...
water.
Science, like, I think it's really cool and interesting, but I can't follow any of it. So, I know you shouldn't use the water with the shit in it.
Yeah, yeah. You can see the polluted water. You can see the food poisoning, the germs of food poisoning, in the liquids here. It's fine. We're gonna get there. We're gonna solve it.
Fake Alex Blue says you think to tutorialize it or something.
Oh, we're not. I mean, we're not playing the tutorial.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've never known you to play a tutorial when you can just jump in.
Hey, I have played the tutorials for this game.
Oh,
okay. Look at how flawlessly I wield the controls.
All right, I'm not making fun of you. You think I'm making fun of you a lot when I'm not.
It does sound hostile. So there's a hostility to it that I don't care for.
Cat and Ninetails says, as many different things as Dwarf Fortress includes in its creatures, waste is not one of them. And that's interesting to me, because I've heard of Dwarf Fortress as being kind of it's talked about as like an ultimate simulator, and like...
Well, but it's not, that's not, it's not a science logistics simulate. Yeah. It's trying to simulate sort of more grander narratives, right? This is a really gritty person level, like make sure every individual person's needs are taken care of with your own two hands kind of thing. And I think Dwarf Fortress is a little more zoomed out.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a couple of comments here.
Okay.
Igor says dwarves poop gems, so it's not usually an issue.
That might be a joke, but it might not be.
There's no way to know. Fake Alex Blue says, has the pollution spread to the rest of the water supply, or is it localized in that one square?
Yeah, the water. This was still sealed behind the rock, so the pollutants tend to be heavier than the rest of the water in my experience. If we hold on,
Yeah. Well,
so it
what
tends to sink
she's
to the
asking
bottom, and
is,
you get kind of a weird. Ah, yeah, you can see the germ overlay
okay,
shows that
okay, yeah.
the whole water supply, the pee is heavier than the rest of the water, but the whole water supply is good and germy.
Lazuli says, I feel like Dwarf Fortress doesn't have waste because I think a good chunk of players would immediately think building material.
Those fellas know their audience.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because you have played one of the ultimate simulation games with like the first game perhaps ever to have like a realistic ecosystem. Rain World.
Amabel, are you
Do they
being
have
difficult
waste?
on purpose? Could you not do that? Had you considered? We're allowed to we're allowed to print. So, every so often the printer is going to offer us every 2.5 days or something. The printer's going to offer us new stuff. We can just take a care package. In this case, just a huge amount of sand. Really, so much sand. Not
Have you considered
not useless, actually. Or we can bring on a new person.
Rockets.
We can
Rockets.
rockets.
Rocketry. We're interested in rocketry.
Oh, the human being whose name is Bunhee? He's just shouting the word rockets at me? So she requires light to sleep. That's actually kind of problematic in our current setup. I might you know what we could really use is someone who loves digging. There's a lot of digging to do.
All right.
Let's bring Ellie on board. And while we're at it, let's make sure Ellie has a bed before it's time to sleep tonight.
So what I was asking,
Yeah.
is there poop in Rain World?
No. Rainworld is not an ecological. Okay, so I pierced the thing. Here comes the water. It's too much water. It's a lot of water. It's more water than I thought it was. It's not gonna overflow that. It's fine.
Okay.
Get out of the water, buddy. Okay. All right. I mean, this is not horrible. The important thing is that we have a great big water supply. So I'm going to wall this up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because I do want to enforce a separation here.
Yeah. Does Don't Starve have poop?
No. You have to eat in Don't Starve, but it doesn't have. You don't have to evacuate.
I feel like there aren't very many games with poop in them.
I mean, survival games very frequently do have.
Okay.
We kind of need to just clear out more space. This is kind of awkward because I'm asking the duplicates to do work that's underwater because I wasn't expecting it to be underwater. And so this is going to be a complicated situation for a minute here.
Andrew says it's not called Don't Shit.
So, I mean, it's a salient point.
Yeah. A Cult of the Lamb has poop, apparently.
It does, yes. So games that have like a farming element, have a tendency to incorporate stuff. All right, I built a thing up here because we're gonna have to learn how to do some work. But first things first, the basics of gathering water. We need a pitcher pump. We need to be able to get clean water so that we can put water into the things in our base that need water, like the wash basin. So people are running around, taking care of their needs, eating food from the box of food that came with us, just rapidly depleting our food supplies without improving them at all. And that's a problem that we are going to have to solve eventually. The other problem that we're going to have to solve eventually is we need to learn how to do things.
Okay.
Right now, we're not so good at that. So let's build a research station. And you might notice that a research station states that it requires power. It requires dirt. There's just raw materials, and it needs power. How are we going to generate power, Amabel?
I don't know.
Manually is the answer to that question. And we're going to run some wires, and the duplicates do not like it when there's a lot of loose wiring running all over the place. So part of the value of these tile blocks is that you can run like conduits and pipes and stuff through them. So we're going to build ourselves a research station, and we're going to give the duplicates the ability to power it. What is going on with the toilet? Okay, we have multiple duplicates who need to use the toilet, and we only have the one toilet. I do suppose that's pretty solvable. So there's a lot of complicated stuff going on with like precise amounts of elements that we have and whatnot, but a lot of it, the duplicates take care of themselves. You know, the stuff is made out of particular materials, but they'll sort things and go grab them, and they handle a lot of the complicated shit on their own. What are you guys doing? Please don't hang out in the water. Okay, part of the problem is that they naturally want to pick up loose stuff. They view it as part of their job to pick up loose stuff, but like it is a little counterproductive sometimes. Okay, you don't need to be doing this. Let me hold on. Please turn this off for the moment. We're gonna need that later, but I want to finish building this first. I have ADHD. The duplicates worse somehow worse. Okay.
Andra asks if you can mark stuff as do not pick up.
You can. Yeah, there's all kinds of layers of how to interact and how not to interact, and you can set like basic behavior types and when people are allowed to do various kinds of things. And you can set do and don't grab by material type. I think you do that at the storage bins. So like if you don't have a storage bin that will accept certain kinds of things, then those kinds of things won't get picked up. You know?
Okay.
Hold on, I want to expand our definitions here. Okay.
So another question I have is
now we have clean water for survival. That's good.
Do you have to monitor the emotional or mental health of your colonists at all?
You sure fucking do. Where's the stress overlay? People have mental states. Where's my duplicate like control tools in general here? Because we have 4 people, and each one of them is a goddamn nightmare. Okay, so we can see here their current status, how much they're breathing, condition, and all their various needs and stuff. You have to manage, in addition to all of the basic biological needs of the humans, such as don't be too hot or too cold, occasionally eat a food or whatever. Every duplicate has stress levels, and they all like and dislike different things to different extents. And yeah, you're not supposed to irradiate them too much. Humans are very... Here you go. You can see today's stress. So right now we have the hope bonus that is applied at the beginning of a new colony just to make things easier for the first few days. They had pleasant chit-chat with a coworker. They feel appreciated, but their feet are wet. There's not enough oxygen in the base, and they have feelings about that. Jesus Christ, what a bunch of whiners. We're solving. I'm working on it. So part of the reason that I wanted to get this stuff set up, let's talk about research. is that you have the ability at the beginning of the game to make an oxygen diffuser. This is a device that converts large amounts of algae into oxygen. The problem with that is that it just pumps oxygen into the space. And a problem that I have had using oxygen diffusers is that you reach pressurization pretty quickly, and the duplicants don't like it when the air pressure is too high because it's very uncomfortable and their ears are constantly popping. So as an oxygen solution, I very much prefer the algae terrarium, which is basically just a big algae bed that consumes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and puts oxygen back out and maintains kind of a solid gas pressure through that process because it's pulling gases out while it's putting gases back in.
Okay.
Plant life in general tends to do this, right? Plants kind of breathe the opposite of humans, but the algae terrarium is very efficient at this. So we need basic farming research completed, and that means we need 15 points of novice research to be done at the research station, which can only be done while the research station is powered. And now that we have the food and stuff, I'm going to turn this back on. What's up?
Fake Alex Blue says, this one likes pissing and chit-chat. This one likes living in the dark and playing video games all night.
It's very comforting for it to be dark. I don't like it when the lights are on. Predators can see me.
I appreciate the way in which we both have been accurately described.
And we both know it immediately. Okay, so we got our research going. They're gonna research how to do algae and stuff. Next, we have a polluted water problem, and I would actually like to take care of it. So that's going to be more research down. Hey, look at this. It's a shine bug. It's looking for food, and it just, when it lays eggs, there's so much information on everything in the game, Amabel. Oh, okay. But our next problem, Amabel, what would you think our next big problem is?
I don't know.
You don't know? What do we not have resolved here? We're working on a way to get air. And we've figured out a way to get water.
Food.
We have a food problem in that we don't know how to make food. So once again, when you start the game, you have a very basic solution available. The microbe musher is a machine that will allow you to jam common ingredients like dirt together into a thing that technically you can eat. This is not what I would call an optimal solution, and also the operation of the microbe musher actually kind of nauseates me. It's a very good animation for expressing that the food is gross. So I am going to build one of these so that you can see it in action. This also requires power. But this is not going to be our food solution for very long. And we'll run some wires up to here. The thing produces 400 watts of power when it's being run. You can see the power draw of these devices is relatively low. So another thing we can do here is we can set up some batteries. Oh, we don't have enough metals. We need to mine metal. We need to mine like copper ore if we have some. Oh yeah, there's copper all over the place. Where is there just like a big... Okay, if we just go up, there's a ton of copper right above us. But yeah, I want to build some batteries and run some power off into the batteries. And then we'll get food figured out. We have some amount of food left. Resources... It's showing us water. Where's the food layout? There's a food overlay somewhere that tells you how many days of food you have at your current...
Is it under consumables?
Yeah, that's probably it. Where do you see consumables?
At the top, there's vitals and then consumables.
No, this
okay.
determines what people are allowed to, Because obviously you can set
Okay.
people not to eat certain kinds of things, and it's supposed to be. Oh, here we go. See all. We have 1,800. We have 18,000 kilocalories. It's close to 19,000 kilocalories of stuff. I don't know. It's not terribly important. The point is we don't have a lot of food. Oh, also check this out. This area of the base is not the most oxygenated, and that's a problem for our poor people who are trying to do aerobic exercise to create electricity. So we might want to place an oxygen diffuser when we can. However, at the moment we are short. I don't know if I expressed this before. We're a little short on metals. So here, these tiles are metal. They'll get us what we need. Oxygen. It's a problem. It's in all the wrong parts of the base.
Jaina suggests you put a potted plant in the corner.
Listen. I don't know. Do we have plant? Do we have? That might be a science problem. We're gonna plants. I'm working on plants. We're getting to plants. All right, yeah. Everybody eat your nutrient bars and retreat to the part of the base where you can kind of breathe a little. It's a rough early day, and you know when their oxygen levels get low enough, they will automatically run to a place where they can breathe. Hooray! Wash your hands. Good stuff. Okay,
So-
everybody's resting. Nicola had to wake up to go breathe.
Oh.
We're working on it.
So I noticed that the tone of this is pretty
Goofy.
goofy.
Yeah.
Light, yeah. Yes, good job. That is, Jaina, it is called sleep apnea. That's correct.
All right, we managed to mine enough metal that they're continuing constructions here.
Hey, everyone in the chat with sleep apnea, sound off.
I don't
Represent.
know if that's necessary.
I also have sleep apnea. Okay. I'm trying to engage your chat.
Okay,
I don't know how it works.
All right, I appreciate that. I'm sorry.
I've been given very little instruction or role models for engaging with chat. Mostly you show me people who yell at their chat, and I'm not supposed to do that. So it's very confusing for me. I'm trying my best.
All right, I built an oxygen diffuser. Apparently, we're gonna need a little bit of oxygen diffusion, probably just to get levels up. But we have now completed the research, and so this is why I left a little bit of room at the opening of a lot of the places where dupes are going to be working, because this is how we distribute the oxygen.
So, but yeah, the tone seems very, very goofy, like you said.
Yeah, and it's very sort of like gee whiz, rockets are cool, and yeah, it feels to me like a very Clay kind of tone.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask if within this genre that I don't know a lot about, are things more goofy, or are there a lot of games that are real serious about it?
I think they're mostly kind of serious, sort of. I mean, like, it really depends on what games you're talking about. All right. Part of the reason we needed to get access to the water, obviously, is that the algae terraria will require water. But this is our first step toward having a functioning, breathable base. Look at that! Look at the good work that has already been done. Now, generally, the gases are gonna separate, right? Because they do not have the same weight, the same mass. But it's gonna take a little while for things to sort of even out. So anyway, back to the food problem. My plan was to assemble sort of like a basic farm setup over here, encouraged in part by the fact that there's this bug over here who wants to distribute light all over the place.
We have a comment from Cat of Nine Tails. Look at the good work, she says, showing half her base being unbreathable.
But that's better than it was. Look, there's oxygen in the part where people sleep now. That's an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying. Space is it's very difficult to survive in space. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, one thing I love about you, sweetheart,
Yeah.
is you're a girl that loves an overlay.
I do.
You just lose your fucking shit about games with overlays.
I do. A huge part of my love for Amplitude's games is just the quality of the overlays.
Is the big cavern of non-breathable air above going to be an issue, Bethan asks?
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about air. If you just kind of fill the cavern with plant life, it sort of sorts itself out. All right, okay. Make mush bars. So mush bars are made from dirt and water. They are technically food. The word that is used to describe them is grizzly. But You know what else is grizzly? Dying of starvation.
True.
So I don't want to hear it. Okay, I made room for another algae terrarium here. You might have noticed that I early on I hollowed out a bunch of algae from an area over here as well. That was partially because I was thinking about this process, and I have made sure that we have other supplies of algae that we're going to be digging out soon, so that we can. But you'll notice there's a lot of different materials, and some of these materials are just like, oh, cool, look, some more copper to build with, or sand, we could use that as a filtration medium. You will start to encounter materials that are a problem. Granite is harder to dig. This over here is abyssalite, which may as well be fucking invulnerable as far as I'm concerned. There's definitely I saw some uranium. Yeah, there's some uranium that poses a problem as well. Different sort of problem. Got to be careful about the uranium. And then over here, there was a lot of heat in this area, right? Yeah. So there's something going on over here. Oh, there's a bunch of chlorine gas in these pockets. What are you?
That's not great.
What are you? Look at this friend. It's a Dreco. He is both idle and wild. Drecos are non-hostile critters that graze on pincha pepper plants, balm lily, or mealwood. Their backsides are covered in thick woolly fibers that only grow in hydrogen climates. So as long as we keep it exposed to hydrogen, it will grow fibers that we can shear from it. Oh. Amabel.
Mm-hmm.
Alien creature ranching.
Okay.
Might be a thing to consider after we can eat and live. I mean, it's going to be part of how we eat and live, obviously.
Speaking of living and whatnot, Mark Hong suggests you should probably set up a wastewater spot soon.
Oh, hold on. Don't get ahead of me. We're working on that. We have plans.
Okay.
That's I'm solving it. I will be solving it. So the pod here is telling us that we have skill points available. So as duplicants work, they gain experience, they gain skill points. And now here's the thing. When I originally played the game, this morale system I don't believe existed. I'm not used to how this works yet, but you can see, everybody has some skills that they like better. Ellie is a digger, right? Well, that's part of why we hired her. She's like very into digging stuff. So if we give her the hard digging skill, it creates morale need. The more skilled a duplicant is, the more morale they need. But it also gains her some morale because she likes to do this. So we're going to try to focus that kind of stuff. This gives her the ability to mine very firm materials. And then as we keep pushing this way, she can eventually become capable of digging through diamond and obsidian and eventually hazardous mining types and stuff. Also, once your duplicants have learned new skills, they get access to appropriate headwear. And that's nice because it helps you keep track of who is who. Nicola also likes to dig, but also has a more diverse skill set.
Rockets.
We don't really need rocketry. Amabel, we don't have farming yet. Rocketry is a future problem. We don't really have art going. I don't know anything about art and setting up like happy duplicates. It's probably something we could care about eventually. But we could just also make him good at digging. You know what? I'm going to give him... He's going to be the colony artist, and we will figure it out when we figure it out. He gets an art hat. So when they have free time, they will... duplicants who are supposed to have hats will run over and claim their hats from the pod, as you can see. And it's a very exciting time for them. Okay. So, research. On the topic of wastewater. So here's the research tree.
Okay.
On the topic of wastewater, what I want to do about dealing with the wastewater produced by the outhouse is, we have a source of water that's already been polluted. We need to set up some filtration systems that will allow us to return that water to function, right?
Okay.
We can eventually learn to produce clean water from polluted water using sand filtration via this distillation technology. This is a couple of technologies down the line. I do think this is an important thing, and we picked up basic farming because basic the algae thing is in the basic farming track. So we theoretically already have the ability to build planter boxes, which should allow us to grow plants from seeds. Hopefully things that are a little bit more delicious than the mush bars. So I'm going to count that as kind of good on food, and we are going to start focusing on this liquid problem. Now, learning distillation is going to require us to put together basic plumbing and basic filtration, which is going to teach us to build lots of different kinds of pipes and liquid bridges and all kinds of pumps and whatnot. But distillation is a third-tier technology, and it requires some advanced research, which is a resource that is produced by a different kind of computer than the kind of computer we currently have. So we also need to learn how to do advanced research, which is somewhere in here. Here, we're gonna need plumbing and filtration for sure. Let's start with that.
Andra says Kerbal Space Program stream next week then.
Okay. I want everybody to look at the mush bar being created. All right. Ellie is operating the mush bar creation. Look at the extrusion that is occurring. So that's why I don't like that. That's why I don't like them eating those. We're gonna set up a farm. Okay. So I am going to... May as well build a ladder down here. I'm gonna remove this wall once. I just wanted to make sure that the water supplies were gonna stay separate. The natural materials don't always hold up to a lot of water weight. I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't actually break through to the water reservoir that was up here. I just left only one square of packed dirt, and the water broke through because of physics.
Okay.
So I built this wall, but this is like a retaining wall. I built this wall so that wouldn't happen over here and mix the water supplies together. Am I too high and mighty to eat a machine's poo? Yeah. I'm not the one who's doing it, though, so... The way you should think about this is I have compassion for my dupes. I don't want them to have to eat the machine poop.
So I have a question that's a little grisly.
Okay, love a grizzly question. Also, grizzly bear.
Cannibalism?
You hope not to have enough raw material for cannibalism in order for it to be a functional option. All right, all Amari likes is wearing suits, and we don't have the ability to learn about exosuits just yet. But we can start picking up the skills that lead in the direction of exosuit training, and also we need somebody to carry stuff around. There's still a lot of like loose materials. I'm giving people too much work for them to spend time cleaning things up. Yeah, somebody needs to be able to cook. That's a good idea. Eventually. Obviously, right now, we're not sort of in that place yet, but they're so adorable. We are being offered another duplicate. I mean, technically, we are producing food.
No rockets.
Let's see here. Cooking, research. Ooh, somebody who's good at researching is good. Increased agriculture. Yeah, critter ranching. Hell yeah. Lyra, you seem perfect. Let's all make sure that Lyra has a place to sleep. Duplicants prefer to move on tile, and also they're faster on tile. So we're going to make sure that we extend this stuff. We're going to get a cot down. Okay. Somebody make sure Lyra has a bed. What's up?
So to be clear, people in the chat, I was asking if there was like a cannibalism mechanism in the game. Not that I have an interest in cannibal. Like I wouldn't.
Creature. It's a hatch. Look at him. Oh. Did you see him just eat that sandstone?
Yep.
Hatches excrete solid coal as waste. Here's all the things it can eat. When we mouse over the list of things it can eat, it shows you how much it gets from them per cycle. That's an adorable little creature.
But like I have some background. I have done a game about survival, not this kind of genre of game, of course, but a game where you are trying to maintain people's food needs, morale, etc., in a harsh environment. Yeah, it's my Shackleton game, and there, like, you know, with the Shackleton expedition, like, food was a concern, morale was a concern, cannibalism was something that was discussed more than once, did not happen. They had a lot of issues with bathroom stuff because their diet was very rich in meat, and so they had a lot of constipation and also diarrhea, and also they did not have toilet paper, so they had to wipe with ice, which was really not great. I'm not getting into a whole lot of detail there. Beth and Ket, yeah, so in my game, Mississippi can survive. Trans icon, Mississippi, can survive. It's really kind of your choice. It's a game without a victory condition, so there's no measurement or judgment one way or the other how it goes down, and you can eat the dogs if you want to eat the dogs, but it's not required that you do that. But just so like this kind of stuff, the reason why I'm asking these questions about like the defecation, about the tone of the thing, about morale, is because that's something where I have done something vaguely adjacent, and so like those are the questions that I'm gonna focus on. It's not that I think cannibalism is neat or anything.
Although, obviously, you do think cannibalism is neat.
No, not really. Like, look, I really enjoyed watching Hannibal with you, but I feel like,
yeah. Sorry, was it not clear to you that that's what I was going for? Was that we were gonna?
Lazuli, you're right. Cannibalism gets treated in a weirdly glib way in a lot of games, and in a lot of movies. I think, or when it's handled kind of seriously, quote unquote, is handled in a way that's very sensationalist, very very exploitive, and yeah, it's a whole thing.
Here we go. This is what I wanted. Advanced research. We need to pick up some stuff. So as you saw there, they do a great job with like the UI elements might be kind of overwhelming, but like there's a really excellent set of filters and search tools in the tech tree. For example, I was able to just type the word computer in there and have it return like, here's all the things that have to do with computers. Which of these things did you mean? This technology contains these kinds of modules, and the supercomputer is over here in advanced research in the colony development window. And it's like they've done a lot of work. And I know that the game did not release necessarily with all of this stuff in place, but they have done a lot of work over time to make sure that it is as functional as possible, while still being quite a complicated game. I'm gonna stop giving our duplicates new stuff to do for a minute here because like people are getting way behind on things. Did that shine bug just explode?
Maybe.
And that might be a natural part of their lifestyle. Or their life cycle. I'm not 100% sure.
It could be a lifestyle thing,
It could be a lifestyle thing. This is food here. This is called mealwood. We're going to be trying to cultivate some number of these plants. You see, people have to run all the way down here to run the pump to get water every time they need water, which is not ideal. All right, things will be a little easier once we don't have so much research to do. But at the moment, just like maintaining the oxygen supply is like a full-time job for somebody just running around and watering the algae terraria and stuff. It's tough. In space, there's a lot of shit to do. And somebody has to run over and manually do all of it.
Yeah, I know you and I have discussed this before, because part of having a relationship that is stable and healthy is discussing expectations and goals and what you're doing, where you see yourself going forward and your life. And she and I have both agreed we're never going to fucking space.
Yeah.
Fuck space.
Heard.
Space is a bad time.
Okay, we're getting some of this stuff done. There's also just like, there's a lot of stuff to pick up yet. Oxygen, I think, is getting better. It's getting pretty good. You know what I really should do here, actually? We should have Terraria down here. Because you should be producing your oxygen at the lowest point of your colony. Right? Does that make sense? And then...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we discussed what we'd do in case of a zombie apocalypse? I don't think we have, because that's not real. It has not occurred to me to discuss that.
Also, you need to know so much about what kind of zombie apocalypse you're talking about.
Yeah.
Before you can
What are
really
the
discuss.
rules of these
Yeah.
zombies?
That's a big task. That's a big talk.
Yeah, it's why we haven't had the vampire talk yet. Because like, how many different kinds of vampires are there? Like, even just cinematic vampires, the rules are different in every movie. So like, how do we know how to handle that?
Plumbing. Okay. Bottle emptier. Oops. So we're going to want to create a situation over here. Somebody uproot this plant. We're going to have to dispose of the dirty water that we create doing things that create dirty water somewhere. And since we have a water supply that's already kind of fucked because people peed in it, this is going to be that water supply. This is going to be the septic tank.
So, something that you've called me to task for before is that when there is a joke, responding to it like it's a serious thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do that in the chat because
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, great. Everybody always loves it.
Yeah. Robin's like, not knowing the conditions of the future is no excuse not to plan. But, honestly, I don't really try to plan much of anything other than, like, very immediate term. Like, I want to know what we're doing on a stream, before we do the stream. But other than that...
That must be really frustrating for you.
Yeah, sure is. But I don't mind. I don't really do a lot of planning because, like, circumstances can change. I don't want to be tied to a plan, Like... 6 years ago, if you asked me to make a plan for the next, 5 years or whatever, my name wouldn't be Amabel and I wouldn't be hot. So like I'm trying just to be open to whatever happens in life and respond to whatever comes before me.
I think we're gonna need more toilets.
6 years ago, I didn't know you existed, and
Skill issue.
Sure, but you've had a profound change on my life.
Oh, I said I was going to stop giving them new things to do.
Yeah, I remember that, and they're like, "Well, she must have changed her mind."
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got into there were plans. So I've created a bottle emptier here and set this to be only used for polluted water. So now when duplicants process the order to get rid of polluted water, which is, by the way, not good to have laying around. It does emit polluted oxygen at a very slow rate. It's not good to just have there be bottles of piss all over the floor all the time.
I mean, there are uses.
So I'm going to set both of these actually to a relatively high priority, higher than the base priority of tasks. So duplicants will now, unless they have some specifically high order task, if they are aware of P, they should come and dump it in the P area. Okay, wastewater solution. Are you okay? Are you really pleased with yourself down there?
I am pleased with myself.
I have a camera feed that the viewers don't have, in case they're wondering why I'm asking that question.
Well,
supercomputer.
Oh,
look at the
yeah,
size
okay.
of it. Look at the
That's
size of it, Amabel. So we have some batteries with some power jammed in them. We're going to use this supercomputer to research the critical ability to filter water with sand. Very important stuff.
Someone in the chat says urinotherapy is a thing, and that's not what I was talking about. We'll just leave it at that.
Y'all, you know. You know. Come on. Oh, new body. I think we're kind of doing okay on food. And frankly, we could really use some more hands.
And everyone likes rockets, so I'm good on this one.
What is your thing with rocketry? Ooh, Bubbles is good at tidying. Farts frequently. Binge eats is a sticker bomber. Will spontaneously redecorate rooms when overjoyed. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of overjoyed reactions, but this is good. All right, so let's just continue adding cots, I suppose. Should probably add, make sure that oxygen is produced at this end of the sleeping area as well.
Fake Alex Blue has a question for you.
Yeah.
That I'll let you handle here. Hey SB, speaking of camera feeds, did you ever appear on camera?
Like on the channel?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there is absolutely a video. I think maybe 2. I'm debating whether I want to like say more than that.
I know one.
There's a channel update video where I was sort of celebrating my escalating comfort with my body by revealing that I have a physical existence, which might sound weird to all the people who aren't trans in the audience, but the trans folks get it.
Yeah. I will say, like, it was a real good look for you, sweetie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That video does have one of my favorite comments of all time that has ever been left on the channel. I don't know. Somebody posted they had made a decision about what I looked like in their head, apparently, and I did not match it. So they commented that they had, for some reason, they had expected that I was a bearded Arabic guy, but no, is just LGBT person. And LGBT person was my Twitter bio for like a year after that comment. Because I think if you look at me, I think you just like, I try very hard to broadcast. I do want it to be obvious. You look at me and you go, "Oh, an LGBT person."
Yeah. Cat of Nine Tails says SB does not use a camera because she knows the audience will be too distracted by her rad looks to follow what's going on in the game. Is for our own good.
I've been told that I emote in a very big way. I probably would be distracting, but not like.
Oh, you absolutely do.
Not necessarily in that way. The toilets break down. Somebody has to fix them. Very unfortunate.
She also is asking me why there is no just LGBT person merch. I don't.
I never opened the merch store. Is why.
Yeah. The only piece of official merch is the thing I sell through my t-shirt store, and that's I'm doing stealth Amabel t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have anybody with we don't have anybody with research skill. Nobody is good enough at research to do the thing. But we picked up Lara specifically because this was one of her areas of expertise. Lara, please put on your researching hat. That's what a researcher's hat looks like. Bubbles, you are good at making sure that stuff gets picked up.
Fake Alex Blue says, I used to moderate a TTRPG stream, and the number of conversations I had to redirect away from our cast physical appearances. Oh, that really sucks. Yeah.
So I established the channel as a thing where I'm not on camera because I used to be like profoundly uncomfortable with my physical form for reasons that were not entirely clear to me. I would have given you some mess about, you know, looks aren't everything, and said I would have given you some like high-minded excuse, but like there are literally I don't know how often I've talked about this on the channel. There are almost literally no photographs of me from before transition because I could not bear to be photographed.
Yeah. I
it's
always
something of a thing on trans social media to do like these before and afters, and I think it's fucking crazy that anybody has any before pictures. Because if I needed to lay hand to a picture of myself in the before times, like literally the only one I can think of is my driver's license picture.
Yeah, and
And then
I was
by the
always
time I transitioned and started feeling maybe a little bit better about obviously just like it was established a certain way already.
right. I always was deeply uncomfortable being photographed, but because of the nature of the business that I was in, that I am in,
Mhm.
and the way that I had to promote it, like I did have to be on camera quite a bit, and I really I have a lot of trouble seeing the photos of me from like interviews, seeing the video footage of me
Yeah.
from back then. So like I kind of, in a way, I kind of envy you that you don't have those photos to like pop up and remind you. You know, certainly, you know, I've gotten some uh harassment from right wing people, and
Mhm.
something they enjoy doing is digging up those old photos and just sending them to me.
Yeah.
And it's like I know what I used to look like. It's not the disc that you think it is. You know, I radically altered my body chemistry to be who I am. But yeah, it's a whole thing.
Okay, our research is complete. We now have access to the things. Refinement? Wait, what am I looking for here? Wait, are all of the parts of the oh no, okay, sorry. That research complete notification is from the previous research. We still have 5 points of advanced research to put toward distillation before we can start converting the wastewater back into water.
Yeah. Fake Alex Blue mentions like finding the before and after is really weird, and I get that. And like when I've done myself like before and afters, I tend not to do the pre-transition stuff, just like early transition
Yeah.
versus now, and that's more for like for the eggs.
Yeah, it's about
That's
helping the people coming up behind you more than it is about yourself.
Yeah, because seeing, for example, the way that HRG just changed my facial structure, you know, seeing that in other people's transition timeline photos was very helpful to me. Like, oh, okay, that's what this does. That's how this works, and that might work for me pretty well. And so that's why I put that kind of stuff out there from time to time. It's just to
There we go. Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you.
well, it's just to help, because there's a lot of people who don't know like what a lot of people don't know how hormones work in the body, and how much they dictate about your physical characteristics, and how
Mm-hmm.
changing those hormones can change that. And I think yeah.
All right, so this produces clean water from the dirty water. So we're gonna install this over here.
You know, I've talked to some eggs, some baby trans people who trans women who did not understand that HRT would allow for breast development, and like
Yeah.
that's but that information is not really out there for most people, you know.
Yeah, I think one like really critically important element of the trans community, like obviously, like it's nice to be in community with people who share your problems and stuff. But one really critical thing about the trans community in particular that I think probably a lot of cis people don't recognize is how important I'm gonna have to have somebody come down here. This is gonna be weird. Sorry, friends. Somebody's gonna have a really rough day. How important connecting with other trans people is to like the medical stuff, because doctors do not understand anything about like even endocrinologists really have like only a very very basic knowledge of our situation. And so like connecting with other trans people is often about like learning how what your medical care can do for you and how it can work. And like
Yeah.
you got to talk to a trans person because nobody else can tell you. And that probably sounds pretty weird. You would think this would be a thing people would know stuff about, but it isn't. All right, so I'm running pipes. You can see, so I'm having them build a liquid pump down at the bottom of the wastewater pit. That pump is going to run, once it's powered and everything, it's going to run water up into the left side of this machine. This machine's going to filter it, and then we're going to run an output pipe over to here somewhere. And this is going to terminate in a liquid vent. Yeah, maybe over here actually. Just to make the I want to put down another tile here just so that it's like easier to fix this stuff if it gets broken. So we'll run it like this.
Cat of Nine Tails shares that her doctor insisted her blood values were fine for 2 years until she proved with a research paper that Bree was less than half of what it should be. And yeah, that seems to be a very common story with a lot of doctors and endocrinologists who just provide far lower than what is reasonable, and it's often combined with like really aggressive. I don't want to get into the whole trans medicine hormone stuff. Actually, now that I think about it, but it's just be in community, and talk with people, and help people find each other.
Yeah, it's my doctor who eventually left the practice and has created a terrible situation for me where I have to go find a new doctor now. My doctor was really, really good by the standards of of trans medical care, and that just means that she was willing to say to me, I actually don't know. Like, you probably know more than I do, and we are going to, I'm here basically to make sure that you don't do something that's going to harm you. But you are really you are in charge, and you are going to take the lead on your care here because it is extremely likely that you know more than I do about this stuff. There's just there's no medical research.
Yeah. I really lucked out with my my HRT doctor because she essentially said, "Okay, let's try this, and what do you want? And are you happy? Are you feeling well? Let's check this. Let's check your liver. Let's check your blood levels." But she really kind of focused on how letting me direct what I wanted, and is the first doctor I ever had that because I had to get weighed. You have to get you do the whole physical thing, and and I was self-conscious about my weight, and I was like, I know I should lose weight. She's like, well, you can be healthy at any weight, and that's the first time I ever had a doctor say that.
Mm-hmm.
That meant a lot to me because I had a lot of people kind of tell me that problems I had were only because of my weight. I don't know. It's nice to have a doctor that doesn't shame you, I guess. I had a problem with that for a long time with my dental care because I have pretty bad teeth for some genetic reasons and some other stuff. And the first time I had a dentist that like didn't yell at me about my teeth, it was like a revelation. How's this going?
Or are we done with completely unrelated medical story time? It's going. I'm trying to, I'm just trying to get people into, just trying to get the basics of this system set up.
I was engaging with the chat.
I know. I'm teasing, sweet. I'm teasing. I'm sorry.
I know you are. I was playing up it a little bit. I hope people realize this because I think some people think that that we're mean to each other, and like we're being playful. Like, I hope that's clear to people.
Okay, so it's gonna take a little while. Part of the problem is that I did this. We're sort of ad hoc, dumping this liquid pump underwater, and so somebody's having to like run down here and hold their breath. And this is probably not the most optimal way to deal with that. Printables available. Do we want 2,000 kilograms of brine? The seeds of some pike apple bushes for our farm? May's stress reaction is vomiter. I'm a little worried about that. So, robots. Sometimes there's bionic people. I don't know the deal with these. Starts with a pre-installed grilling booster. Not good at husbandry or medicine. And doesn't get passive attribute leveling. I actually kind of, yeah, give me some seeds for our burgeoning farm.
Excuse me.
Let's mop up these loose liquids here.
There's so much stuff going on to keep track of.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah,
even.
it's like a complicated game. That's the case with a lot of these. All right, Ellie, you are going to be good at digging, which unlocks a new level of digging hat for you. So you notice the more advanced version of that skill still gained her some morale because she likes to do digging tasks, but it also created an even greater morale need for her than she had before. So even when you have them working in their preferred areas, they're still like making them do more complicated things has a negative yield overall.
Okay.
So you have to figure out other ways of maintaining morale, and that's not a thing that I'm good at in the game. It's not an area of the game that I have really mastered. All right, but we're getting this stuff all settled. So this is just what it's taken. Like, I would argue that we are not sustainable yet. We're not like basically internally sustainable beyond all of the stuff of like rocketry and whatever, right? Like, I'm just trying real hard to get us to the point where we can basically grow our own food and produce enough oxygen. And look at how oxygenated a lot of the base is getting. Not all of it necessarily, but a lot of it. We pulled a lot of plants to the planters. We got all this mealwood growing here, which sprouts those leech-like grub things. The food supplies is going upward. It's trending upward. It's currently adequate, is how it's described. Although there's still a lot of mush extrusion going on. All right, Lara is trying desperately to get this stuff finished. All right, the liquid pump is in place, and it looks like it's powered. Here, let's. Where's the overlays? No, not light. The plumbing overlay. Yeah, so it must have some power because it's done some pumping, although it's not pumping at the moment. It looks like my batteries have power. Oh, there's no output. Right, the pipe is completely loaded with liquids, and the output hasn't been run all the way yet. We're getting there. So hey, Amabel.
Yeah,
Have thoughts about this.
it's a lot. That's my thoughts are. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can see why it has appeal for you, and also why you said you kind of get what was the word?
Somebody just stress peed over here.
You know, you get a little tired of it as well.
All right, new plan. Get rid of the retaining wall. We're just gonna make this whole thing the pit.
Okay.
Because somebody just had an accident. Ugh, mop up this liquid, please. Is the 2 bathrooms not enough? Are we having problems with that? Part of the problem is, like, if you have just enough bathrooms for your people, if you have just enough, like, facilities, then you end up with problems where one of them is down for whatever reason, and all of a sudden you don't have enough facilities. And I think some of that may be what happened there.
Like, but I could see this kind of thing. It's a little complicated for me, but I could see it being interesting, and then at a certain point, I kind of would get a little careless.
Yeah.
Because it would stop. Like, at a certain point, the kind of, I don't say directionlessness, but like the self-directedness of it all. I can only do that for so long.
Mm-hmm. See, what we're supposed to be doing is finding our way to a place where we can, right? Like, we have a goal. We have a large scale goal. But it's quite far away from the thing we're doing here. And so beyond the need for the colony to become basically self-sufficient, then you have the, obviously, this is for clean water only.
Do you feel this has overlap with the city builder games genre at all?
What do you mean by city builder?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because city builder is a name that is used for what I would argue 2 very distinct kinds of games. Because you have your city builders that are like in the sort of the Sim City genre, and while Sim City is not really a thing so much anymore, you know, that genre still exists in the form of like cities, skylines, and stuff like that. And I think the Anno games, Anno is that kind of thing. And then you also have the city builders that are a little bit that do lean a little bit closer to this, and that's the kind of ground that, like, Against the Storm is drawn from, where you're like doing tech trees and
right. So I'm thinking more like, again, because
so there I'm thinking like the primary examples of that are like Banished and Yeah, these things where you are like, Factorio and its ilk are sort of like straddling this space between like strategy game and or survival game and city builder. And plants have died. What's wrong with this?
Yeah, so
Why?
so you've shown me some against the storm. You even made me play some against the storm, which I found like really overwhelming.
Just a little bit. You did not get through the tutorial.
And in talking about it with you, you said that because it has you do what you consider to be the interesting part of the city builder, and then you start over, you do another city, that it you enjoyed it more than other games in that space, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah,
and
because like this part I'm like fine with, right? You set the city up and you get it to basically functional, and then that's usually where I like once I solve the sort of immediate survival type problems, and it's time to go to, okay, larger scale, what's our next goal and how do we direct toward that? That's where I usually sort of fall off and end up going to do something else.
Okay.
And so yeah, Against the Storm just does the part that holds my attention repeatedly. That works really well for me. All right, we're finally about to actually have the output on our liquid pipe system. If people would stop running off to do other things. All right, there we go. Liquids. Look at that. You can actually see the pump picking up the polluted water and running it through the thing and turning it into fresh water, which pours out over here to join the freshwater supply.
Ivan asked, why is some water this gross yellow color? That's because someone did...
that is urine?
There weren't toilets yet.
Yeah, that is urine. No, some of that is from well after there were toilets. It just, it happens. These are stressful circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, now we have wastewater being processed into fresh water, refilling
if it's just urine, I don't know why you're bothering to purify it. It's
Amabel.
fine.
Food poisoning. It's full of food poisoning. Look, 32,000 germs of food poisoning. Okay, and we built a nice solid wall between the two liquid bodies, and yeah, this is pretty hacky. But I built some compost heaps over here to compost the polluted earth into normal earth. We're definitely having some gas problems down here. We can see that. It's not breathable in that area, but overall base breathability is in the 90s. This area still is is getting worked on slowly by the algae terraria. Yeah, look at all that. Ooh, we are really close to breaching the chlorine gas up here.
And you don't want that.
It is correct that I do not want chlorine gas in my base. Yeah. Is chlorine gas, would it stay up there? What's the density of chlorine gas? How do I tell that from here? Oxygen tends to rise above other gases. Okay, this is like a near-term survival type issue. We're gonna send somebody up here to reinforce this area with tile. Let's try to keep that up there. But yeah, that's sort of like the basic idea here. Like you saw, we can work our way slowly through the research tree and learn how to build new rocket propulsion stuff, and eventually you get yourself off of this rock and onto other rocks. There's even more advanced research. You can get into a lot of fancy like cooking and meal preparation to help provide morale for your people, and decorating rooms, and power management and automation, and there's a lot. There's a lot to the game. We were only ever going to scratch the surface a very small amount here. There's decor. Jaina's suggestion of putting a potted plant in the corner earlier, absolutely a thing you can and should do. People like decor. Decor makes morale. You get trim and hanging pots and all kinds of things. It's a big, fancy, complicated game, Amabel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not good at it, and I don't know how most of it works. Boy, this is... We might need to... Maybe we need to lower our pitcher pump level. The base is requiring a lot of water. We're eventually going to need to get more water in here. Oh, look at this. Some tile, some windows. There's something that used to be inhabited way down here. It's a big pocket of polluted oxygen. That's interesting. Yeah, over here too, security doors and tiles. This area is like very toxic though. Oof, slime. Breathing air that's been in contact with slime can give you the appropriately named slime lung. We have not really worked out medicine stuff yet. We have like the very, very basic, just like wash your hands type stuff. But obviously there's a whole system of medicines and illnesses and whatnot that can be gotten into. It's complicated. It's a big game. Amabel, do you have any other thoughts? Anything you want to say? Any questions?
Not really. I kind of got that. It's pretty.
What about the chat? Also, it's very pretty because clay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what about the chat? Anything coming from the chat? I think I'm gonna stop around here.
Okay. Yeah. So are you? I'm gonna ask. Are you done with this playthrough? With this playing of the.
Probably not. I'll try to do some more, but like we sort of reached the end of the part that I know, and you can see like as you continue to get into more complicated stuff, like they give you little training videos and stuff. I don't know how duplicate morale works. That one's happy. He's got more green bars than red bars. Cool. But then he goes and learns stuff. He learns how to do more things. And when he does so, his brain gets bigger and more discerning. And no, now he's not happy. No, he's not as happy anymore. What if you did some mushrooms? Uh-oh. Even more brain. Art, you know.
All right. Yeah. So I think we're done with this for now.
They do their best. It's a very complicated game, and they really do their best to keep you in it and aware. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's probably the most interesting of these from my perspective. What with all of the systems and whatnot. I love a game that has things in it. So I'm going to pop us back over to the gas cave here.
All right.
What an incredible power that is. I am saving and quitting. Do you like... It seems like maybe you just don't find survival games all that interesting.
I mean, there are things I found interesting about it, but it is like a bit complex for me.
Mm-hmm.
I yeah, and at a certain point, like I don't know, I guess it just wasn't for me. Yeah, but I did like learning about it with you. I did like you showing
Okay.
it to me. Yeah.
Just feels like I'm having to push you for an opinion.
I mean, my opinion is it looks. My opinion is some of it was interesting. I do think that it being a computer game, the way it can model things at that kind of granular level,
Mm-hmm.
um, can give it a lot of texture that maybe is not something that I'm coming to games for. But I know you are. They had overlays. I'm so happy for you that it
It
had
had
overlays.
overlays. Did it ever?
Yeah. Yeah, my opinion is overwhelmed, Cornflake says. And yeah, it's like it was a little much for me and it's a little I don't want to say soupy. I don't want to say it felt like soup, but it just at a certain point it's kind of hard to keep track of things, I guess.
At a certain point,
What?
it's hard to keep track of you, Amabel. Did you ever think of that? Got her.
Yeah.
Flawless. Got her.
Oh, hey,
We got a little bit of time left in the stream. I just figured.
let's be in Tetris.
Yeah, I just figured why don't we play a little bit of Tetris? So yeah, there's a whole like those that genre of game had a real renaissance around about the period that the what's it called came out, that Oxygen Not Included came out. There were so many games like that, and they were absolutely the biggest games in streaming and stuff. And you can still see many, many, many streams of people just sort of fucking around in their bases and whatnot. Your Rim Worlds and your Kenshi. I think Kenshi is kind of that sort of game. And
Is there overlap between this and the Rock and Stone games you were telling me about?
no, Rock and Stick games.
Okay.
Rock and Stone is a different game than that.
Okay.
And how dare you conflate them?
Okay, but
This is Mixolumia,
but-
everybody. We're playing. I'm just
pretend-
gonna play a little bit of Mixolumia to fill out the time here because I like Mixolumia.
so pretend I said it correctly and answer my question, please.
I don't know if I can do that. Contractually, I might be disallowed. What was your question?
To be clear, chat, that this is the way conversations tend to work in the house. I was asking if there's any overlap between rock and stick games and survival games.
That's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, the one that we were just playing was sort of like a colony survival game, but a lot of them are
Gotcha. Okay.
sort of like single person and playing up a little bit more the sort of like the Robinson Crusoe of it all, right?
Yeah. And I can see why this would appeal to you more. I think because you've never discussed rock and stick games as in a positive way when we've talked about it.
Yeah, and to be clear, that rock and stick is definitely, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody else call it. That's a me thing.
Oh, okay.
That is not a common descriptor.
Okay.
I just call them that because the base of the tech tree is almost always like punch tree to get stick, punch rock to get smaller rock, and then you combine the rock and the stick to, the kinds of people who are familiar with these kinds of games will recognize what I'm talking about right away, although they may not necessarily appreciate my tone. And I'm sorry if you are way into these games, please do not feel that I am like judging you or anything. It's just definitely a kind of thing that is not for me.
I've never really known you to judge people generally about their game taste. Like, I would say of the two of us, I am more into visual novels than you are.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't judge me for it.
No, but I definitely do judge people for their taste in games. Certain things are.
This is so pretty. This is a pretty thing.
So what's up in chat? Are people talking about their favorite survival games or?
Yeah. So let's see. Cornflake says Kenshi is about you and your 30 buddies founding a commune and beating up robots in dungeons. You get abandoned in the desert with a leg missing is common early game. Andra says the only one of those rock and spit games I like is Valheim, which has an impeccable vibe, and I enjoyed building little Viking villages or mountain forts and chilling inside while the storm rages. Robin says that she's tried punching a tree and the tree won.
Yeah, the physical torment that characters in these games are willing to endure so that they can craft, pants or whatever, it always is like shocking to me. It seems like being the protagonist of one of these games would really hurt, like a lot.
Yeah. Baz says, I keep being surprised just how popular those games are. I think they're fine and occasionally enjoy them, but holy shit, do they explode in popularity sometimes.
Yeah, it is an incredibly popular type of game. And I think it's easy to sort of lose track of like what people are really into. It's easy for me to lose track of what kinds of things people are really into because of the sort of like pretty narrow range of my own interests.
Yeah.
But I do I do active work. I make sure that I reach outside of my personal interest bubble actively a lot for research purposes, that I know what the hell is going on.
I mean, this is something that I was trying to express earlier, maybe a little clumsily, but something I really appreciate about you is that you do go out of your comfort zone so often. And a lot of people have very stratified tastes and they never tried to grow. And I love that you do. I love that you're a friend of things that are new and interesting, and even things aren't for you, you try to engage with them to figure them out. I mean, I remember you telling me, because something that people may know, if they've been following the channel for a while, is that you're really into horror films. But that wasn't always the case. You had to try them and be like, hey, I'm going to try to see if I like horror films.
Okay, that's sort of the story.
You might be better if you tell the story than I do, because I'm not remembering it exactly.
Well, like a big part of the thing with the horror movies specifically is that I was a very like a deeply cowardly child. I was very afraid of a lot of things, and it feels kind of silly, I guess, almost to describe a child as cowardly, because children are afraid of stuff. Children are afraid of stuff in a way that we have decided socially makes sense. Right? That's just normal. That's normative childness. But I mean, I was like really afraid of a lot of stuff to a sort of an unreasonable degree. And I saw a bunch of horror movies in my, youth and whatever, and had decided that I did not like them. I had decided that I hated horror movies, actually. I can remember the moment when I was like, you know what, I just don't like this whole thing. And it was going to see The Ring. Gore Verbinski's the English language version of The Ring in theaters, and I had such a miserable experience because it fucked me up real bad. And I was just like, I'm just done. Horror movies are not for me, and I don't know. This is a whole long story that's not really even related to the point you were making.
Well, you don't need to keep going if you don't want to, but you did try horror movies again.
Yeah, eventually I realized that maybe I was responding to a narrow subset of horror movies more than,
And there are people who would not have that realization.
I gotta go. This was a horrible outcome.
Is all I was saying. That there are people who wouldn't bother to try again. And I like that you do. I think you're neat.
Thank you. So, hey, Amabel.
Yeah. I'm looking at the chat.
Okay.
I'm looking. Hang on.
When I'm playing a game, it's your job to make sure there's not a bunch of dead air. Okay.
Yeah, no, I got that. Okay. I'm sorry. The game's very pretty. Is the problem. Tiro says, seeing Puppet Master and Child's Play at 5 really turned me off of horror movies and dolls and action figures for quite some time.
Sure, I could see how it would have that effect. So, like, for me, the specific problem I was having is that I really can't... I startle very easily, and I don't... Whatever the thing is that people get from it that, like, makes it fun or whatever, I simply don't have it. I do not enjoy being startled. It is a thoroughly unpleasant experience for me. And so... I had convinced myself that I did not like horror movies at all because my familiarity with horror movies was movies that have too much of that sort of thing in them. And it was not until years later where I was trying to I was trying to reconstruct some how come I don't see things like this anymore? In particular, I was trying to hunt down I liked the X-Files a lot when I was a kid, and I had never internalized that as a horror experience, but I was like, how come I never see media that feels the way that the X-Files made me feel anymore? And a bunch of people, I asked that question online, and a bunch of people were like, oh, you gotta watch Fringe. Fringe is like new X-Files, and it is. It's like, it is, but also it kind of isn't. And what I sort of came to realize slowly was that, the things I was responding to positively in the X-Files were a lot of the more sort of horror-oriented elements, and in particular, the places where the horror elements interleave with the comedy. Like, there's a lot of weird horror comedy in the X-Files. Which I guess, I don't know how familiar people are with the X-Files anymore. At this point, I suppose it's sort of an ancient program.
Yeah.
But realizing that got me to sort of cautiously reapproach horror, and just knowing more about what it is that I do and don't want from it helped me find stuff that fit my needs better. Because to this day, I cannot watch the kinds of horror movies that are very reliant on jumps and startles.
Yeah.
I will have a miserable time, and I have generalized anxiety disorder and stuff, and I would just like afterward I would just feel like emotionally fried. Like it takes a long time for my nerves to reset from something like that. It is legitimately like just unpleasant. But horror movies that don't do that to me are absolutely like my favorite media, for sure.
Yeah.
And I did not. I was too ignorant to understand the difference as a young person. Some learning had to take place. I will tell you the horror movie that really cracked it for me. Once I kind of had the idea of what was going on, and I was like, okay, so I need to find some horror movies that don't do jump scares. I did some research online, and the thing that got recommended to me, and I have no idea how this happened because I guess it's like a pretty low budget thing, and it seems like not a lot of people are familiar with it. So it's weird that this was recommended to me, but somebody on a subreddit recommended They Look Like People, which had just come out, which had just become available, digitally. And that was the movie that really broke it for me. It was like, no, okay, actually horror movies are really good. It's just you have to find the right thing for you is all.
Yeah.
That movie's fucking great.
Yeah, you shared it with me, and I did enjoy it. Yeah. Christine Mess says, I actually started liking horror movies because of Chucky movies, actually. I guess that's because I watched Bride of Chucky, and that movie is more funny than anything. And yeah, the Seed of Chucky is phenomenal. The one that came right after Bride of Chucky. It's very funny, and it's very knowing, and it's very queer, and just a fantastic film that I would highly recommend.
Yeah, the Chucky movies are so. I was not familiar with the Chucky movies until like a couple of years ago. I realized it was one of my big blind spots. Was I had seen some Friday the 13th and some what do you call it? The other
Nightmare
one.
on Elm Street, Halloween.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, and obviously Halloween. But that was like the big slasher franchise I didn't know anything about really. Up front was Child's Play. And so I got pretty sick. Not too long before we met actually. And okay. I was like, okay, you know what? This is gonna be my moment for correcting this. I'm gonna watch all of the Child's Play movies, and so that's why they're all on the Plex server. Is because I downloaded them all at once for this purpose. And I was
legally, of course.
Whatever. It's in Minecraft. And listen, can we just talk like people? Can we just admit that the way we do things is the way we do things? I acquired all the Chucky movies, and I was really surprised because I don't know. I thought they were a lot more like. I thought they were a lot. I had this impression of them that was a lot like meaner and more vicious and a lot less comedic than they are. And obviously they're not all like overtly jokey, but even the ones that are arguably more serious, the earlier trilogy, it's still like Child's Play 1, the first Child's Play movie starts with the police are chasing a guy who has just committed a crime, and he runs and he like hides out in an abandoned toy store. Not an abandoned toy store, but a toy store that's closed for the, because it's the middle of the night. And when the police catch him, like he shoots a cop and the cop shoots him, and the officer dies, that the guy is wounded. It's not a he's mortally wounded. And so he pulls this big fucking goofy necklace out of his jacket and starts chanting voodoo nonsense. and invoking the name of Dumbala, and then a huge lightning bolt strikes the store, and it's like, oh, I didn't know what these movies were at all. Like they're very intentionally silly in a way that I was surprised by, and I guess that seems kind of goofy because like what else is a movie about a haunted doll gonna be? But I don't know. I had like a vague memory of them from I was seeing part of a movie on TV when I was a kid, and on reflection, I'm pretty sure it was not whatever it was. It wasn't one of the Child's Play movies.
Mm.
But yeah, I had a different idea about them, about the thing that they were. They're actually they're very weird and silly. And Don Mancini, who is the writer for all of them except the new reboot movie that is called Child's Play, the one that has Brian Tyree Henry in it, and he's also the director for the 4th, 5th, and 6th movies. So anyway, Don Mancini's gay, and I think that you can tell. It feels like queer art to me, and that gets truer as the series goes on. I would say by the time you hit Bride of Chucky, it's very obvious, and then Seed of Chucky is a movie with a non-binary genderqueer main character, and in 2004 was it?
Yeah.
Billy Boyd. Yeah. Billy Boyd, the first role that he took after playing, he's Pippin.
Yeah, he's one of the 2 stoner hobbits. I don't remember which one.
I know which hobbit he is, but I don't know which one is named which thing, because I'm not super familiar with Lord of the Rings. He's Billy Boyd. The first thing he did after Lord of the Rings was play Chucky's genderqueer child, in as far as a puppet, the haunted puppet, can have a child in this movie, and I really respect the hell out of that. I think that is an extremely boss move. Anyway, yeah, Pippin. People are confirming in the chat that Billy Boyd was Pippin. And like honestly, like the film's pretty good about it. Chucky's not cool with it, but Chucky's not a good, like, Chucky's the villain. You know, it's okay that Chucky's not cool with it.
Is he cool with it later? There's that thing that gets passed around.
He's cooler with it. So there's a Chucky TV series, and the Chucky TV series has some significant amount of queerness among the main cast of teens, and Chucky, in interacting with one of the teens, they have a conversation about queerness where Chucky brings up his genderqueer kid, and he is being very cool with it in that scene, but in that scene he is also manipulating that person. So I don't know that it necessarily represents actual growth. Again, Chucky is the villain, so it's,
yeah.
But the Chucky TV series does some fucking crazy things with that character. The Glenn/Glenda.
Mm-hmm.
Which is even the character being Glenn/Glenda is such an obvious, like, queer cinema, right? Like,
yeah. Can I give a hot take, actually?
Yeah.
For its time, I think the film Glenda,
yeah,
is pretty good. It's a very earnest piece of work, and like,
sure, yeah,
there's a lot. You know, like, a lot of people just make fun of it as, like, you know, one of the worst movies ever made, and like, a lot of it is them kind of laughing at the earnestness and the queerness of it. Like yeah, there's parts that are amateurish about it, but for a film from the 50s, I feel like I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, for a second, for a cold, chilling second there, I thought you were about to try to defend the Ed Wood to me, the Ed Wood movie that what's his name did,
The Tim
the Tim
I
Burton.
haven't seen that in years. I remember liking it at the time, but I really soured on Tim Burton a lot.
I don't. I was like, there was a long period there where I was like, how did he get it right the one time? Because I do like Nightmare Before Christmas. Until right up until I found out that he didn't direct it, I was like, oh well, okay, that makes sense. I feel like it gets treated like it's his movie.
Yeah, Frankenweenie was all right.
I didn't see Frankenweenie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, we're in the post stream, everybody.
we are. That's the time. That's the part of the stream that it is. We're just talking about stuff we like at this point, and that's basically what the post stream is. So yeah, the post stream is part of the stream where we talk about, just share a thing that you love, share a thing that you have loved this week, in the hopes that other people can also love it. We get people recommend things to each other, and everybody has a better time with media. Amabel, what do you got? What's something that you have had fun with this week you'd like to recommend?
Well, so this week's a little tough because I was gone for several days and spent most of it in my car driving to Connecticut and then back to Detroit. So during that time, I was listening to a podcast, which I had heard most of before, that's still running, called The History of English. This is a podcast by a guy named Kevin Strode. It's a pretty well-known, popular podcast, so it's not an obscure thing at all. And it's a history of the English language and how it developed from the Proto-Indo-European language, and it covers the Germanic language families and Latin, and so it's history and it's linguistics, and I love that shit. That shit is good, and then I remember bits of it, and I can have a conversation with you about the etymology of the word puppy, and then you think, wow, that Amabel's real smart.
It's true. I did think that. I said it out loud.
How about you, sweetheart?
I'm seeing people recommend. People are talking about. Okay, Bas van Duren den Hollander brings up Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I have been definitely having a growing interest in this game. It sort of was off my radar because it is pitched as a very traditional. I shouldn't say traditional. A modern Final Fantasy kind of RPG. Right, but traditional sort of within that space. But the more bits of it I see, the more I'm like, this actually, it's got a vibe. It's got some music. Let me tell you, the soundtrack the parts of the soundtrack that I have heard in that game, I find very compelling. Also, unbelievably French. If you had nothing to go on but the game's music, I don't think anybody would be surprised to find out that it was French. Bethan Nye asks, has anyone seen the Vordelok? Amabel, we've seen the Vordelok.
You've seen the Vordelok?
I liked it very much. Bethan Nye says, I've not seen it yet, but I've heard good things. And yeah, I would like to reinforce those good things. I really, really enjoyed it. It is a weird, for those who are not familiar, it is a weird movie about a French noble, right? He's French?
He's a French noble.
He's a French noble
in Eastern Europe, Russia kind of areas.
Yeah, he gets into a situation where he is compelled to, stay the night in sort of unfamiliar territory, and he has a real sort of creepy family takes him in, and he has an experience, and yeah, I loved it. I dug it very much.
There is.
Yeah, Merde is a great. It's a good feeling curse word. The French have a lot of good curse words. Um, Robin Bennis is recommending episode 2, specifically episode 2 of The Studio. The other eps are fine, but episode 2 in particular, it is a very good episode. I'm enjoying The Studio as a whole, but yeah, I think the second episode is for sure sort of like a conscious. It is very functional as a sort of conscious statement of intent, I think, and it's very, very well executed. Andra Dunn recommends Yellow Jackets, the TV series Yellow Jackets. Oh, interesting. Recommends the TV series Yellow Jackets, having not seen the 3rd season. People like the 3rd season. My impression is that the broad impression of the 3rd season is very, very positive. I liked it a lot. It seemed like people got kind of shaky on the show after season 2. I thought season 2 was good, but people are.
I've only seen.
I don't know. People are weird.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I've only seen the first couple episodes of season 1. It's a very intense show for me, and like I haven't been able to like watch more of it yet. It is maybe too intense. It is more intense for me than Hannibal. Hannibal's pretty low key, at least some of the time. The Yellow Jackets doesn't really have so many down moments. So Yellow Jackets, if people are not familiar with Yellow Jackets, the premise of it is basically a girls' high school soccer team on the way to a national championship. Their plane goes down in the mountains, obviously like somewhat semi kind of based on the idea of, what's it, Alive, right? About that Olympic team. Is that what that movie's called, Alive? Yeah.
So this, and they go down in the mountains like in America, but it takes a long time for them to, I think they're in the mountains for like 19 months or something, including, I believe, like 2 full winters. And it's the story. The thing is, you might hear that and think, oh, it's going to be like this survival story thing. Actually, most of the film takes place like 20 years afterward. So there's this, like, the present day of the film is basically our present day. But you get a story told about the adult survivors of that experience, parallel with a retelling of the experience itself, where you have, the same characters, but as teenagers. And the way they interweave the two stories, to highlight things about the characters and things about the way the damage of that experience manifests, I think is really interesting. And it's very pulpy. Like you could do a version of that thing that's like very heavy, and it's about psychological damage in a very like serious, gets nominated for an Oscar kind of way. But I think I should emphasize that that's not what the show is doing. It's a very sort of slashery kind of, I don't want to use the word romp because it's heavier than that. But can you help me out here? Help untangle the mess I've gotten myself into.
Everything you said makes sense to me. I don't see a mess.
Tonally, it's kind of a weird thing, right? Like it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very pulpy. Pulpy's the right word for it.
Okay. All right. Pristine Mess is recommending MonsterCon, which is a thing. I don't know what that is. What kind of thing is MonsterCon? Horror adjacent?
A convention for monsters.
Okay, thanks. That's very helpful. Oh, Monster Prom 4. MonsterCon. Is that what we're talking about? A new game in the Monster Prom series.
What is the Monster Prom series?
Why don't you take a big guess? It's they're like visual novel dating simmy kind of
dating sim for monsters.
About like a horror themed high school. It's a little, You know.
Okay, so it's like Hatoful Boyfriend, but instead of pigeons, it's monsters.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I guess there's a way. That's a way to come at it. The thing is, like, High School for Monsters is already such a concept, such an ingrained concept, that I don't know why you would need to go to Hatoful Boyfriend. Right? Like, Monster High is a whole. Okay. Whatever.
What is
Anyway.
Monster High? Wait, there.
You are so disconnected from.
I know Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School.
It is extremely similar to the Ghoul School as portrayed in Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School. It is like Monster High.
Fun of me.
No, I'm not, and that's serious. Monster High. It's like it started as like a line of dolls for little girls, but you know, because it's that, it's also a TV series, and you know, whatever. Like, and that's the premise. It's like, what if Frankenstein and the Mummy and Dracula's daughter and the Wolfman's daughter all went to the same? They were in high school together. That's what it is. That's a whole genre of thing now.
Okay. I didn't know that.
It would seem Amabel does
Now I
not know
know.
Monster High. Yeah. Pretty
I'm
weird.
learning. There's things I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not. I know things that are old.
Yep. Okay, it's my turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple of things. I do recommend the Yellow Jackets. The latest season of Yellow Jackets I thought was very good and fun. The cast of Yellow Jackets is bananas. It's like Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci and fucking Melanie Linsky and the girls who play the teenagers obviously are mostly fairly unknown, or like closer to unknown, because you're mostly very young actresses, but they're stellar, and they do such good work, you know, matching up with the mannerisms and stuff of the older. That's the whole thing. It's someone else's recommendation that I'm writing on. I got recommended something on YouTube a couple weeks ago that I think is a weird fun thing. So let me pull us out of the gas cave real quick here and turn on my display capture. Whoosh. Over to here. Check this out. This is a project called Necrogoblicon. And it's like a metal band where the part of the gimmick, I'm gonna put a video on here. I'm gonna mute it so we don't get DMCA'd or whatever. But like it's the part of the gimmick is like the front man is a goblin. His name is John Goblicon, and let me fast forward this video a little bit here to a part where the goblin here's our man John Goblicon, and so yeah, he's always it's black metal where the lead singer's a goblin, and it's very obviously, as you might imagine, it's sort of a comedic, sort of a Death Clock kind of vein in some ways. Here he is learning telekinesis while high in his apartment in this video for a song called Dressed as Goblins. But they also do so this got, a couple of these songs got recommended to me because I was just listening to metal on YouTube. And then the other day I became aware that they do a podcast, like an interview show, where the whole time during the interview, he gives the interview as the goblin character, John Goblicon, and he had Brennan Lee Mulligan on to teach him about D&D, because apparently, despite being a goblin, a man who is living as a goblin in the black metal scene, he's not familiar with D&D. I don't know how much I believe it, but yeah, this project, whatever the hell you call this thing that they're doing over here, Necrogoblicon, it's neat and weird, and I like weird. It's got a very strong vibe. They are so committed to the bit.
Well, I think that's wrapping up our
I think so. I
fitness
think that is our
recommendations for people.
I think that is
Yeah.
our broadcast day. Somehow I got the gas image off center, and I don't know what I don't know what happened. And I don't know how it keeps getting worse.
I mean, it's just gas.
I've broken everything.
It's just gas.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just-
you know what, it's gas.
just pure
Gas is in
resistance.
here doing mischief. I get up and then I come back in and like the chair is turned and I know Gas has been sitting here. And I ask her and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was eating
Is
Reese's.
that what gas sounds like?
I was
Is that-
eating
is that
Reese's
gas voice?
Pieces. I don't. Why would I sit in a chair? You'd be like, are you trying to express disdain about the concept of you sit? Everybody sits, and Gas is like, psh, that sounds like meatbag shit. Skeletons don't sit. And I don't think that's right. I've seen Gas sit. She's acting guilty. It's very suspicious. Anyway. That's going to be it for us for today. Are you? Amabel's okay. She's fine.
I'm okay, yeah.
We're going.
All right.
Thank you all so much for watching. It's a pretty low energy stream today.
Is gas the spirit of a dead goblin? Is the
No.
question Nope Nah is asking?
No, I don't
Do you-
think
do you
so. I
wanna-
think Gast is something more I was gonna say meaner, but goblins get pretty mean. I think Gas was a human. Gas is proportioned in a humanly way. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
There's a lot that I don't know.
Yeah, we need to figure out some of this lore before
Yeah.
you start putting it on t-shirts.
Anyway, that's the end of the stream. Thank you all so much for watching. When you listen, there's going to be more stuff coming out this week. We're headed back to 4X school now that Amabel is back with us to wrap up a little bit of wrap up on humankind, and then on to the next things, which I'm excited about. Of course, there's going to be lots of other videos this week. We're starting some new series. I think we're getting pretty close to the ends of some others. So come back for all of that, and of course for another stream next Sunday where we will be doing I don't know what yet. Have a nice rest of your weekend. Try to enjoy whatever is left of your weekend, and we'll see you later. We'll see you on other things, y'all. Peace.